Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Naruto explaining. I've been you guys another Boruto TBV Vortex discussion. Today, I want to talk to you guys about why the reveal about Amado being responsible for Kawaki's current power level and Boruto TBV Vortex is a much bigger problem than we originally anticipated and expected, and why this is hands down the most glaring, the largest, the biggest red flag that we've ever seen with Amado's character since he's been introduced. At this point, if you're thinking that Amado is just this father in mourning trying to get his daughter back to life and is going to give up if Kawaki's unable to revive her, you have a better chance of me not mentioning the official Naruto Explained plushie is up for pre-order on Gimme Swag's website, which I had a hand in the creation of the weighted plushie, which comes with a removable championship belt that has the Naruto Explained logo on it, and I have a 15% off discount code Naruto Explained 15. If 100 orders are made, then the plushie goes into production, and if we don't hit the production goal, then your orders, they are refunded. Pre-orders are now live and they end on December 3rd, so click my pinned comment down below to help support the channel if you can. And again, if we don't hit the 100 order threshold, you'll get your money back, so it's a win-win. So when it comes to Amado, we learned in the upcoming chapter that the reason for Kawaki's limited power that we've seen in Boruto TBV Vortex is that Kawaki has been hampered by Amado, and Boruto brought it to Kawaki's attention that this was intentionally done by Amado. He tells Kawaki that Amado needs Kawaki's coma seal for his own purposes and that he has taken it upon himself to alter Kawaki's body for those purposes. Kawaki's body has limiters built into the ninja tech inside of his body, so while Kawaki's grown stronger over the last 3 years, his fully manifested Kokugan Eye, it is proof that he has grown stronger, but he has not reached anywhere near the level of power that he should be at, which is why Boruto stated a few chapters ago when they first were in their clash together that he was shocked that Kawaki hadn't grown at a rate similar to Boruto, to the point where Boruto's asking Kawaki, did you even train? Now we know why Boruto made that statement and was so serious and so disappointed by it. There was a whole other tier of power at Kawaki's disposal that hadn't been unlocked yet Kawaki was never given the opportunity to use it due to Amado's actions. It explains why Kawaki sees base Boruto and feels the need to use the coma seal. Boruto's grown at an abnormal rate, but according to Boruto, based off of this chapter, Kawaki should have been somewhat comparable. All of Kawaki's attack potential, it has been hidden behind this invisible wall, whereas Amado adjusted Kawaki's defense and his regeneration abilities, showing a frightening degree of control over Kawaki's body, which makes a lot of sense. Amado is the one who created the ninja tech inside of Kawaki's body that made him into a cyborg. It stands to reason he can choose which attributes he can amp or dampen depending on what his justification is in that very moment. It stays in line with Amado's character. He himself isn't this all-powerful being, but he holds all the power because his character has always been associated with control and seeking control in general. It's literally why he placed a control option onto Kawaki's ninja tech, which can only be activated by Amado's voice. It's all about control. If Kawaki were to get out of control, Amado would make himself indispensable to Konoha because he is the only one who can solve their problem, because he is the only one who can reassert control over Kawaki. By extension, having the control option makes him the one person who can get Kawaki to do what he wants without needing to resort to physical force. Kawaki has to comply or else Amado can take control and shut him down again, which for someone like Kawaki, losing his freedom is one of the biggest sources of agony for his character. It's heartbreaking enough that it deserves its own video to explain how this fits into Kawaki's overall character arc. Everything Momoshiki stated about Kawaki, it is all coming to pass. He told Kawaki that he was a fool destined to be used by others if he continues down the path he's on. The context in that moment was in reference to Amado having reconstructed Kawaki's coma seal, which Momoshiki implied should have been impossible. He said he'd be used by others like Amado or himself, or he ended up getting fed to the Ten Tails as a result. With Kawaki, he's been walking the path that Momoshiki said he'd take, and now Boruto is bringing it back up to him, and neither he or Kawaki realized that Amado was watching the conversation take place, which means Amado has had time to come up with a contingency plan to make adjustments to maintain a position of power. It is very much in its nature to do so. Even if you force him to play the cards in his hand, he still leaves himself an out to be used at a later date. Look at the conversation he had with Naruto and Shikamaru. Naruto said, stop holding back information, and Amado gave just enough to get them off of his back, and then he put on the crocodile tears and got the rest of the conversation delayed. He's always tried to maintain some level of control, especially over those who are stronger than him. The car enters, they're all implied to have shutdown codes that can be activated by Amado if he's within speaking distance of them. That's why Kashin Koji freaked out when he saw Amado shut down Delta, and he wondered, did he have the same thing inside of him? He very likely does. Now, we don't know everything, but what we do know is that it's very likely Amado placed surveillance materials inside of each and every person who he's mechanically enhanced. He's been shown looking through Delta's eyes, and now he has been shown looking through Kawaki's eyes, which means he is privy to information that should be private. That would explain how he was always one step ahead of people like Victor when Victor was trying to sabotage him. Amado had intel he otherwise shouldn't have had, and he does what the 48 laws of power and the art of war and the 33 strategies of war all preach, which is you pretend to show ignorance or weakness to maintain the upper hand by lulling your enemy into a false sense of security. We have to go back and look at everything Amado has done up to this point and start raising the question, how much of what he's saying is him pretending to be ignorant? If he's telling class rep that he figured out omnipotence by the ninja tech in Kawaki's body being his and that nobody else could have ever replicated it, but he doesn't state that this was because he examined the body, it's something we all assume, because we know that Kawaki's body was looked at during the time skip. We have to ask if he was able to even confirm his suspicions prior to that by looking through Kawaki's eyes when Amado was being unmonitored, which that might have confirmed any suspicions he had about Kawaki before he even did the examination. That way he does not give away any of the suspicions that he had. He likely would have heard Ada and Damon talking to Kawaki over the last 3 years about omnipotence, and in the last chapter about how Naruto isn't dead. To what end? We don't know, but this proves the whole time that Sarada was running around the village in absolute distress, calling Kawaki a fraud, passing out photos of baby Boruto being held by Naruto. Amado, he knew the truth the entire time. Boruto's words to Kawaki, they were a greater warning about the danger of Amado, which is ironic. Boruto's a story about where the science fit into a world of shinobi, and we've been dealing with all these Otsutsuki level threats and threats that are coming from the Otsutsuki, and the biggest threat might be a literal scientist, bringing the story back full circle to the first arc of the story itself, where science was an antagonist to the story without actually being a physical antagonist. He's more self-serving than he lets on. He limited Kawaki's attack power, likely to give a likelihood to keep Kawaki in check if things got too dire. But because he couldn't afford to allow Kawaki to be killed or captured, he altered his defensive powers and his regeneration in the hopes of giving Kawaki increased odds to avoid any of those problems. He very likely did so with the intention of giving Kawaki just enough battle power to take on Code and defeat him, and give him just enough defensive amps to protect him from Code, since Amado would know what Code is fully capable of. What Amado didn't account for was these awakened shinju being as strong as they are and scaling that much higher over Kawaki and Code. He didn't know that this would be a possibility, that these shinju would even exist. And with them being this strong, we have to have the conversation as to if they aren't at Ishiki's level, near Ishiki's level, or given how easily they dogged out Kawaki and Code, potentially even stronger. Which means Amado spent this whole time calculating for a threat stronger than Jigen but weaker than Ishiki, and he made a miscalculation. Boruto knows that Amado, his hand, it is now forced. He's going to have to remove Kawaki's limiters because it's in all of their best interest to do so. Amado might lose some of his control over Kawaki, but what good is control over Kawaki if he is too weak to defend himself against Jura? What good is having all these preventative measures for Kawaki to stay around long enough to revive your daughter when the very actions that you're taking are what gonna lead to him getting killed in the future? You can't revive your daughter if Kawaki falls, and Boruto is banking on the fact that Amado would come to that conclusion. For as smart as he is, Amado would see that, which is why he tells Kawaki, go confront Amado yourself. He has effectively forced Amado's hand. He's done the one thing that not too many people in the universe have been able to pull off. put Amado in a disadvantageous position, but this leads to an even bigger problem. Boruto might not know about the shutdown code. He very likely does not know. Though it is possible Koji does kind of allude to it to him when they have their conversation, since he would have informed him about what he saw Delta do, and Boruto does know that Delta has a shutdown in her. But you know who knows for absolute certainty that Kawaki has a shutdown code? Ada knows about it, and she's the wild card. She can just as easily tell that information to Kawaki as she can hold on to the information herself, which we cannot rule out, because in the 3 years since she learned that Amado had the shutdown code on Kawaki, she's never even been implied to have told him. And she doesn't have a reason to do so, because while she does love Kawaki, she's seen firsthand that he is not above using force to get her to bend over to his will if he wants to force her to do so. That's what happened when he got her to lie about Naruto being killed by Boruto. He was physically threatening her the entire time. She knows that he can kill her, and he knows that he has that power as well, and he is not above using it. For every Kawaki fan saying that Kawaki should have been stronger in Boruto 2 Blue Vortex, Boruto just confirmed that this is the case, and it begs the question, what else did Amado do as Kawaki's body as insurance if Kawaki were to ever get out of line, or if Kawaki is unable to resurrect Amado's daughter using the Karma Seal in the way that Amado wants? We have that line that I keep going back to where Kawaki says he's not afraid and unwilling to kill Amado's daughter if she ends up turning into Otsutsuki, and there is a reason for that, especially now in this chapter where Kawaki makes it clear anything connected to the Otsutsuki has to be destroyed. Amado is not going to be willing to allow something like that to happen. There is another contingency plan in place that he is willing to use that we do not know about right now. This is not the last option Amado has on the table if history is to be believed, and history is the best indicator of future actions. And with Jura showing interest in eating a chakra fruit, one has to wonder if Amado might not be willing to have a chakra fruit harvested if he thinks there's some way to have it restore his daughter, because the man, he is clearly desperate and he is running out of options. And if we take into account the Naruto Shippuden filler, which is one of the rare times I'm going to do this, we know that Kaguya was able to contain the effects of the Infinite Tsukiyomi. Again, this is Shippuden filler, but Boruto's manga has pulled from things that occur in filler that you guys have had to clarify for me, because as you guys know, I am a manga only fan when it comes to Naruto. I've not seen every anime episode of Naruto, either anime, but I've read the manga 50 times. So when fillers reference, it goes over my head most of the time. So it is something you do have to consider. There are not any moral lines that he won't be willing to cross. We've seen as much when it comes to Amado, and he's willing to play that long game. He was willing to kill dozens of children for Jigen when they were looking for Ishiki's vessel, and then play the long game for years while he waited for the right time to use Kawaki to screw Jigen, and then later on to screw Ishiki. This has personally cemented me in the belief that Amado can never be trusted, though I am open to hearing you guys' thoughts on it, because I know that there are some members of the Amado Defense Force out there. As a reminder, the chapter review will likely be out on the 20th. The chapter review editor got that audio last night and is hard at work on it now, so I thank you in advance for your patience waiting for the review. In the meantime, click here to watch the Boruto spoiler video if you want to know more about what happens in the chapter, or click here to watch my newest anime explained video. And remember to check out the pinned comment down below to get your Naruto Explained plushie, which is refundable if we do not hit the order threshold. And the promo code is Naruto Explained 15, one word, Naruto Explained 15.